I spoke to Daniel Serwer. He's from the School of Advanced International Studies at Johns Hopkins University. He's their academic director of conflict management. And I asked him about the Trump administration's reaction to the investigation.
Well, it's been a little bit more normal than some of his responses. His initial response was very Trump-esque. It was, we've got to worry about these arms deals. We can't worry about this journalist. But since then, he's become a little more sober and a little bit more deliberate. But he's leaning over backwards to make sure that he stays as close to the Saudi monarchy as he possibly can.
He sold himself as a candidate, as a businessman who could come in and straighten out this country. But during the campaign, at a rally in Alabama, in fact, everyone's resurrecting this clip. I want to quote it verbatim. He said, "Saudi Arabia, I get along with all of them. They buy apartments for me. They spend $40 million, $50 million. Am I supposed to dislike them? I like them very much." This is getting played a lot. Talk to me about this relationship. I mean, the relationship before he became president, how it complicates his role as a president.
Well, he's got businesses that are benefiting enormously from the Saudis, both the hotels and the real estate. He's terrified, I think, that financing for his real estate will somehow be shut off. It's quite clearly one of his main issues with the Russians, who have been putting a lot of money into his real estate. He always says, I have no business in Saudi Arabia, I have no business in Russia. That's true. They have business in him.
Talk to me about Jared Kushner, because there's been a lot of writing about that as well. His relationship with the Crown Prince, some of these conversations he's had where he hasn't had aides there. They've been kind of, and again, here's another man who's a businessman who clearly could probably benefit from a relationship with Saudi Arabia.
He's very tight with the Crown Prince. There's no question about that. But it's not just personal. He needs the Crown Prince to help him deliver the Palestinians to some deal that the Palestinians won't like, this deal of the century he's supposed to be negotiating.
There was a piece in the Washington Post today about this whisper campaign, conservatives trying to kind of trash his reputation to try and basically buttress what the U.S. president has been doing. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and especially considering that you knew the man.
The whispering campaign is claiming that he was somehow an extremist. That's nonsense. He wasn't an extremist. He was a guy who thought that Islamist political parties had a role to play in democratic societies. And that's not an extremist position. It's really quite a reasonable one, a debatable one, but a reasonable one. He's blamed by this whispering campaign for being buddy-buddy with Osama bin Laden. Well, the Americans were buddy-buddy with Osama bin Laden when he covered Osama bin Laden and traveled with some of the mujahideen fighting the Soviets in Afghanistan. So this is nonsense. This is a smear campaign that anybody who participates in it really is disgracing themselves more than they're disgracing Jamal Khashoggi.